let's do some record predictions. Let's put the money where our mouth is. Michael, we're actually going to start with you. We're going to start with you and work our way back. Let's go. Give me the standings. Give me the standings first, 1 through 4, and then give me the records for each of those teams.
Well, let's go ahead and start 4-1, like you said. So I'll go with the Titans starting at 4. I think they get about 5 to 7 wins at this point. There's still some work to be done on the roster. I do think Cam Ward's going to have a good year. I think his wide receiver room's going to really help him out, especially just with experience. But it's a team that's filling in holes, but I do think they're on the right path of getting themselves to where they need to be going forward long term. I'll go with the Colts third. I'll put them at about 6 to 7 wins. Daniel Jones is really my big question mark. I like what they have on the offense and defensive side of the ball. If they can get some more secondary help, I think that's beneficial to them. But, I'll go third with them. Give me Jacksonville at 2. I could see them potentially 8 to 10 wins. It's not too far-fetched. I like Brian Thomas a lot. I really think he'll eventually be a top 10 wide receiver in the league. And honestly enough, I think Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen are actually going to be a good fit together, but it's just going to come down to just if he can fit the scheme and just get it down path real quick. And of course, Ruben, I know you're sitting there smiling. So give me the Texans to win the division this year again. I do question the offensive line a lot, but I think this is a Texans team. They could do about 9 to 11 wins, but if CJ Stroud can continue to grow in the right direction, and if he's not going to be held up with his new offensive coordinator, I still think they're right now the top team in the division.
Dalton, he had you guys at number 2 in the division. Without giving your record predictions, is he off his rocker? You feel pretty good about that? Was he fair in his assessment of your team?
I mean, I honestly believe it's pretty fair because my predictions will probably be pretty similar. Don't mean to bury the lead, but I think he's pretty level-headed. I think that's, one thing I've realized is when your team is down in the dumps, you get very level-headed about what's going on around you. And when you're sky high, sometimes you say things that make you look like an idiot, okay? And I've experienced that in live action just from being on the roundtable.
Let's actually go up to Ruben. I want to see your record prediction.
I'll start with number 4. I do think it is the Tennessee Titans. They're trying to figure themselves out. There's still some questions about, the offense and the O-line. I'll give them between 4 to 5 wins. I'm leaning more towards the, the 5.5 side. But I think it's just going to be another year of them trying to figure themselves out.
You bastard, I gave you the division.
Yeah, at 3, it's Indy. And, the biggest question mark is Danny Dimes. No one believes in Danny Dimes, not even Derek. So it's going to be a question of how close to the number 1 overall pick can the Colts get. I think they should already be trying to get there, but I have them being 3rd in the division. So I'll give them between, also 4 to 5 wins. I would not be surprised if Colts are 4. Second, I do have Jacksonville. I do think Jacksonville is going to be respectable this year. I will give them 7 to 9 wins, 10 on the very high side. I think Trevor Lawrence and new coach Liam Cohen are going to figure some stuff out, and I think the offense is going to be a lot better than what people think. And of course, at number 1, I do have the Houston Texans. I'm going to go between 10 to 12 wins. Realistically, around 10 or 11, and I'm praying for 12 because I really need a round 2 playoff game in Houston. But I can't say 13, 14, anything higher than that because I've never seen this Houston Texans team go anything higher than that. So I'm going to say 10 to 12 wins, 3rd time AFC championship, your 3rd championship in a row.
I mean, Derek, I got to hear from you now because we've had 2 of your co-hosts essentially say that they don't believe in your Colts. They've got you well under the prediction of where you had them, at least when you had AR in there. So now that Danny Dimes is starting, I've got to know, what are your record predictions for the division, man?
Yeah, I wish I had more confidence in my team right now. I'll have the Titans at 4th. I think they can range anywhere from, 4 wins this year to, 8 wins. It can go a lot of different ways, but I think they'll probably finish around 5 or 6 wins. They still got a lot of issues on their team that they need to fix up outside of their quarterback right now. So, things need to be better there. Third place, I will go Indianapolis. Again, I don't have a lot of confidence right now in Danny Dimes. Maybe he changes my mind. Maybe after a couple weeks into the season and, he's playing somewhat like, maybe like what Gardner Minshew did in 2023. It is what it is. I can't be that guy that's just going to go crazy. I think the high ceiling, we could go 10, 7, 11, and 6, but I really do feel like we won't quite hit that number. Second, I'll go Jags. They're always hanging out right at around that 9-win-ish type season. So I'll probably leave them at that. And then Houston, despite all the struggles that they have, I still think that they'll persevere because they have the best quarterback and probably the best coach in the division at this current moment. So I'll give Houston the division in that one.
What is okay? Let me ask you this, Derek. What is the identity of your team this year? Like, why do you, even though you don't have faith in them, right? And a lot of that does come down to quarterback. I do understand that. But like, what is the identity of the Colts that can carry them to be, an 8-win team that could possibly, if things break right, get into the playoffs? Like, what is that you look at and say, okay, this unit is the identity of this team, or these units, I guess?
Well, I mean, it has to start with the run game with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that's always been the identity ever since Jonathan Taylor has been an Indianapolis Colt. I mean, he is one of those guys that if you give him the ball enough times, he is going to make plays that are just going to create an impact. And, you have to be able to run the football if you're this team. I like our running back room. I really feel like we're going to have a great one this year. And, offensively, that's the big aspect of this. And then, defensively, I really hope the defense actually makes an impact this year. I have higher confidence in Lou Anarumo and his defensive style to create more opportunities defensively than it has in years past.
Along. All right, Dalton, give me your record predictions for the division.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start at the bottom. Like, I think the Titans are going to have one of those years where they start off just with a lot of losses and they're in the race for like number 1 overall pick. But I think they're going to be one of those teams that toward the end of the year, they're going to start getting some wins. You're going to look at them and be like, oh, look, the Titans went, 4-3 in the last like 7 games or whatever. Then it's going to kind of help them a lot. I'll say the Colts, the Colts, I feel like, have a good amount of talent. Like, they have a lot of players. If you look at them individually, like, they have a good roster. But I just think that their team is just getting a little bit stale. And even Pat McAfee called them out that, like, the culture just needs to be changed. Like, last year, they were like, a lot of them were Twitter watching. A lot of them were kind of mocking him because Pat McAfee was basically calling them out for what they were, right? They're just a bunch of losers. And I'm not sure what the record's going to be this year. So I'll say maybe like 6-11. I'll say the Jaguars in second place. As much as I want to put the Jaguars in first place, like, I just got to see it. And I think right now the Jaguars floor would probably be like 6-11, but I think the ceiling is maybe 10-7, maybe they can push for an extra win. It's just the Jaguars have a lot of pieces. I just got to see them do it, right? But the good thing that is a lot of it really rides on the quarterback play, and there's only one quarterback, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And I really do believe in him. And I think that pairing him with a bunch of wide receivers and, at least the middle tier offensive line, right? And actually good offensive coaching, like, I think really the sky's the limit for him. So I'll split the difference. I'll go 8-9 for the Jaguars. I'll say the Texans go 10-7. Like, Texans, very, very talented roster. There are, of course, questions. Like I think CJ Stroud is really good quarterback, but man, like, if you have a bad offensive line, it can make a quarterback look a lot worse than what they are, right? Their mental clock gets sped up. They don't throw the ball as well. I think they have a pretty good roster. I still do question a little bit of D'Amico Ryans, because a couple of it is because of this. One, it seems like they can't beat good teams in like November or December, right? They can do it at the beginning of the year. In September and October, they can kind of take care of these guys. But toward the end of the season, when they're trying to push for playoff seeding, they can't knock off the Chiefs. They can't knock off like the Ravens and stuff like that. So They had to do it. I still need to see D'Amico Ryans take that next step.